Welcome to Jeevan Jyoti Institute of Medical Sciences, serving you medical comfort. Vaisach Vritya Sukhad.
Hello and welcome. I'm Jyoti Singh from Intellico Research and Services, and today with us we have Dr. Abhijit Das. He is an assistant professor at the Department of Anesthesiology and Critical Care at Silchar Medical College and Hospital and has been practicing as an anesthesiologist for the past 22 years. Sir, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Sir, please tell us about your journey as an anesthesiologist in Barak Valley.
Yeah, it's a long journey of say 21 or 22 years. In the year 99, I completed my diploma in anesthesia, and then I joined Silchar Medical College as a senior resident or houseman in the Department of Anesthesiology. And in the year 2000, I got my job as anesthetist under Government of Assam. And since then, I'm working as an anesthetist, and at the same time I was doing my private practice also. So I completed my MD from Silchar Medical College in the year 2012 and got promoted as assistant professor in the year 2014. And so this is all about. When I came here as an anesthesiologist at Silchar, there was very limited number of anesthesiologists, only 5 or 6, and now it is more than 20 anesthesiologists are there in Silchar, and we never had a association. So because of effort from one of my senior and myself, we started the city chapter of our association at Silchar, and I started the critical care in Barak Valley in the year 2002.
So, sir, it's been a long journey for you here, and so, but even if it's taken you a long time, very few people know about what an anesthesiologist really does. So, would you like to tell us about the role of an anesthesiologist in the medical sphere?
Yeah, the role of anesthesiologist, let me tell you what is the role of an anesthesiologist in an operation theatre. It is very critical. So people do not know about us. What we do actually in an operation theatre. Actually, it is the surgeon or the people who are working in operation theatre. They know only what we do. Actually, to become an anesthesiologist, you must have a proper knowledge of medicine and many other subjects in medical college to become an anesthesiologist. So why it is so? It is so because you are to make the patient calm during the whole procedure of surgery, and patient should not feel any pain. We are to allay the anxiety and worries from the patient, and sometimes the patient is in deep sleep, and it is our duty to make the environment or make the patient comfortable, and we should make the surgeon also comfortable to operate. And at the end of the operation and throughout the procedure of the operation, we take care of the patient. We see about his physiology. We see about his different systems like respiratory system, central nervous system, that is brain, heart, kidney. We take care of everything. So the surgeon can operate without any tension.
Right.
So this is the role of an anesthesiologist in an operation theatre. In other sphere also, we are having some other important roles. I'll come to that later.
Yes, sir. So apart from the anesthesia and checking the vitals of the patient, what is it that an anesthesiologist does apart from what he does in an operation theatre?
Besides operation theatre, an anesthesiologist has vital role in critical care, because without a good anesthesiologist, a critical care setup cannot run. This is one. And we, the anesthesiologist, we take care of the pain part of the cancer patient. So there is a subspecialty in anesthesia. It is called pain management. So in cancer hospitals, if you go to cancer hospital, you will find an anesthesiologist who is taking care of the pain part of the patient. So we are pain specialists also.
Right, sir. So you are also involved majorly in the ICU and the critical care aspect.
Yeah.
What would you like to, how would you like to relate anesthesia and ICU, and what is the role that an anesthesiologist plays in an ICU?
See, again, the question is very relevant. In an ICU, whenever a patient is in ICU, we are the best judge about the respiratory part of this patient, of any patient in ICU. We are the best judge. So what therapy should be given, and we have to help the people, we have to help the doctors who are admitting their patient in ICU. So we take care of the ventilators, we take care of the respiratory part, we take care of the cardiac part, we take care of the almost the whole part of the body. So in critical care also, we are the silent workers, and we specially take care of the respiratory system. Whenever a patient is under ventilator, whether it is invasive ventilation or non-invasive ventilation, we are the specialists. We take care of the ventilated patient. That's all.
So talking about medical trends, especially because of the second wave of COVID, what is the role of ICU and critical care in the field right now?
The first wave of COVID was not that eventful like second wave of COVID. So in the second wave of COVID, we have seen that the patients are becoming COVID negative, but their lungs are totally damaged. So they are mostly referred back to normal ICU after they become COVID negative. And it's really a challenging job to keep their lungs okay, even in COVID ICU. And when the patients become COVID negative, they come to non-COVID ICU, and we take care of their lungs. So by doing non-invasive ventilation and invasive ventilation. So non-invasive ventilation, I cannot explain here right now. Non-invasive ventilation is not like full ventilation. It is the method of pushing oxygen under heavy pressure through an open mouth, and the patient is conscious. And full ventilation patient may become may remain conscious or may become unconscious. So mostly in second wave of COVID, we have seen that those who are on non-invasive ventilation, their outcome is good, and those who are under full ventilation, their outcome is not very good.
So my next question to you would be, why should any person, any common citizen, know his anesthesia doctor?
Oh, this is very important. This is very important because before giving any anesthesia, it is the duty of an anesthesiologist to visit his patient, whether the patient is going for a routine surgery or going for an emergency surgery. So before anesthetizing a patient, I must see the condition of the patient, like condition of the heart, condition of the lung, condition of the kidney, condition of the brain, everything I must see. I must talk to the patient that I am your anesthetist, have confidence on me, and tomorrow or after some time you will be operated, and it is me who is going to give you anesthesia, and after operation it is me who is going to talk to you first. So it is my duty, and it is the duty of the patient also to know me, because the patient should know who has kept him or her calm and quiet during the procedure of a surgery, and who took care of his lung and other organ or the whole body during the whole procedure of surgery. So it is the duty of an anesthesiologist to introduce himself to the patient, and it is the right of the patient to know that who is his or her anesthesiologist.
Right, sir. So a lot of information has been doing rounds, especially on WhatsApp and social media platforms, and there is a lot of I don't know if it's information, whether it's truth or whether it's a myth. You are the right person to burst those myths and to give us the correct information. So here are a few questions and queries that I have. The first one is that doctors keep patients unnecessarily in the ICU, especially during COVID.
No, it's not like that. It's really a myth, because firstly let me tell you, the patients who come to ICU, they are really sick and they cannot be compared with a patient who is admitted in a general ward. So after a severe heart attack or after a stroke, where patient cannot be managed in general ward, or after a severe COVID, when patient's oxygen saturation is not maintaining, so these patients cannot be managed in ward, so they are being sent to ICU. So it takes time for them to recover, and it takes time for us to assess whether this patient can be maintained outside ICU or not. So it is not like that we are keeping the patients unnecessarily for a long period in ICU. It is our headache also to keep the patient, to take away the patient from ICU as soon as possible. But not all the time. It is possible to keep the patient or take them out of the patient. ICU. So in a short duration. So we must keep them for some time to observe them and to see whether they can maintain their own in the non-ICU environment. So it is not like that.
So the second statement is doctors use extra and unnecessary medicines and other equipments to treat the patient that is not really required.
This is totally not true, because the patients who are admitted in ICU, I told you earlier also, these are the more serious patients than general. So they need more medicine. In general ward or in cabin, a patient blood pressure is not maintaining, so he is being sent to ICU. So besides his antibiotic and other drugs, we need some medicine which will keep his blood pressure up. So like this, there are so many examples are there. So definitely we need medicines, but unnecessarily we are not going to use this. So in ICU, we need extra medicines, and we need really lot of medicines to keep a patient alive, to keep his system working.
So the next statement is that doctors run unnecessary blood tests and other kinds of tests on patients.
No. Actually, in ICU, we need every day's development. We need to see every day's development. So this same test may be repeated, say after alternate day, or some new tests may be we have done every day. So like ABG, arterial blood gas. So arterial blood gas is not done usually outside outside regularly. But in ICU, regularly we do ABG test, say at least once a day, and frequent blood sugar check we do in ICU only. And regarding normal blood test, is 10 or 20% more than what we do outside an ICU.
So my last statement here is whether patients are kept unnecessarily on ventilators.
So regarding ventilator, common people think that once you put a patient on ventilator, that means the patient is put on ventilator for the benefit of a hospital or a doctor. It is not true. So people think that once the patient is put on ventilator, they will never come out of the ventilator and the patient is going to die. It is not like that. In my 20 years of experience, I have seen so many patients coming out of ventilator and now they are living their normal life. So before putting a ventilator, it is the duty of the treating anesthesiologist or critical care specialist also to explain to the relative of the patient or attendant of the patient regarding the outcome of the patient if they are put on ventilator. So after discussing everything and freely with the relatives or attendant of the patient, if the attendant think, yes, my patient should be put on ventilator, so that patient should be put on ventilator. And it is the duty of the intensivist also to make the relatives understand the need of a ventilator. So if it is really required, then only it should be put, the patient should be put on ventilator. Unnecessarily, we do not put any patient on ventilator.
Thank you so much for joining us today, sir. It was wonderful talking to you. We hope to have more such conversations with you in the future. Thank you.